Care providers in our region say government plans to stop the recruitment of overseas workers will be detrimental to patient care.
It's another devastating blow that this government's brought upon us. When you add that to other things that's happened recently, particularly the delays in social care reform, it just wonders what they're doing to us. It almost seems they're working against us rather than for us. So it's a big concern.
Also on tonight's programme, an inquest hears that the main suspect in last month's Leeds crossbow attack died from a self-inflicted gunshot. Lindsay Burrows here as we look back at yesterday's Rodborough Leeds Marathon. More than 10,000 runners took part. And an historic estate in North Yorkshire goes up for sale if you've got 25 million spare.
And the farms and gardens are looking very dry indeed, and there's no rainfall in the forecast over the coming week. Join me for the very latest.
Hi there, I hope you had a lovely weekend. Welcome to Monday's programme. Government plans to stop the recruitment of overseas workers will be a devastating blow to the care sector, providers in our region have said. Today's immigration white paper says visas for social care providers that want to recruit from abroad will be abolished. Health and care is the industry with the largest number of legal migrant workers in this country, above so-called skilled workers and temporary or seasonal workers. Applications for health and care workers visas in the UK peaked at 18,300 in August 2023. But have a look at this, they collapsed to 1,700 by last month following the ban on bringing over dependents. And at the same time, this figure, 12,500 social care positions in Yorkshire and the Humber region stand vacant. The trade union Unison says social care sector would have collapsed years ago without migrant workers, and further funding is needed. Carla Fowler reports.
And we move.
Today, the Prime Minister's big promise was to tighten up on immigration, starting in care homes like this. It's hoped cutting off the recruitment of foreign care workers will reduce immigration levels. But the team at St Cecilia's nursing home in Scarborough rely on its many overseas workers. Chima from Nigeria has been sponsored as a care worker here for the past 3 years.
When you begin to feel unsafe, when you begin to feel not supported by the government, which you're here to, contribute your quota to the healthcare sector, and they're making it look like, no, you need to do this, you need to do this. I don't think it's the welcoming policy, whatever it is.
There are roughly 12,500 vacant social care posts in this region. Reducing overseas workers would likely make that number even bigger. Government want the domestic workforce to plug the gap, but care sector leaders in Yorkshire say that's just not realistic.
It's another devastating blow that this government's brought upon us. When you add that to other things that's happened recently, particularly the delays in social care reform, it just wonders what they're doing to us. It almost seems they're working against us. By 2040, we need 500,000 more staff. So I don't know where they're coming from. The key thing is, we want to recruit people from England. We are doing everything we can to recruit local people. But sadly, the pay is not great, and we want people to come in, but they just don't want the work. And we want people in social care who want to work in it, not forced to work in it.
So we're going to speak with Amy. Amy.
The stricter rules on settled status and family dependence could mean homes spend more on agency staff.
Because we need the staff. And the job agencies, recruit agencies, is bad because it's not continuity of the care. And having the overseas staff, they want to learn, they want to progress in career as well. And with these rules, people maybe choose to go to other countries where they feel more supported.
Well, I like them who are here. I understand them, and to talk to you and to tell you about their life as well. It's lovely.
Care workers don't get paid enough, and if they paid our care workers enough, they wouldn't have to bring them in from other countries.
They've all tried them, none of them have stopped it. So maybe Mr Farage might sort it out.
It's just going to push people away from wanting to take that job. If they come here and they're looking for work, and that's something that they can do, and they've got the skills to do that, why shouldn't they be allowed to?
care homes are beset with a recruitment crisis, tight margins and rising costs.
If the care provider can't get the guaranteed level of funding from the council, then they can't pass on that wage insecurity to the worker. Care providers are basing their care on council contracts. And sadly, councils have been cut to the bone over the last 14 years, and they can't afford to pass on or guarantee an appropriate level of funding to care providers. So the entire system is in trouble.
The government says its plans for fair pay in social care will boost recruitment. But the care sector has been pleading for this for decades. Carla Fowler, BBC Look North, Scarborough.
Let's get the government response, shall we? The Prime Minister said the government will create a system that is controlled, selective and fair, and a clear break from the past that will ensure settlement in this country is a privilege that must be earned, not a right. Well, joining me now is Dan Archer, who runs the Sheffield home care company Visiting Angels. Good to see you, Dan. We heard there from Mike Padgham and from the union Unison saying that actually without foreign workers, they're in trouble, but you've got a different view, haven't you?
I mean, I understand that position completely because there's been a dependency for the last few years on overseas workers. I took a decision with Visiting Angels that if we started from a position of paying better, using proper contracts, that we would find it easier to find UK workers that wanted to do that. And that's been the case. I mean, we've grown to something in the region of 1,600 staff now, and we've got about 80 to 100 people joining us every single month. So the solution works. The challenge is how it's funded, of course.
Well, Mike there was saying they have vacancies, they can't fill them with UK workers, and we know that there's 12,500 vacant roles in the care sector.
Yes.
So how do you recruit?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess in some respects there's also an element of sort of the door being bolted after the horse has left in this with the Prime Minister, because the rates had already dropped from a peak in August 2023 down to 1,700 in April. So we're fixing a problem that's not really a problem anymore by doing this, I would suggest. I think the reality is that better pay and proper contracts is part of the solution. And if you make the job more attractive, then there are more people that are prepared to do that.
Yeah, we just heard there, didn't we, that they want to pay more, but the money's just not there.
Correct.
We know that local authorities are already strapped cash. So where does that extra money come from to pay for care workers?
Well, I think it needs to come from central government. It also needs to come from within local government. But it absolutely shouldn't be coming out of the pockets of care workers. And in some instances at the moment, that's the case. Because of the low level of pay in the care sector, some care workers are actually paid illegally. So it's really important, I think, that the job is a professional job. It's a very skilled job. And the pay needs to reflect that. And it's difficult, I think, for most in the sector to accept that government can make a decision like the one that it's made without a viable solution in place.
Do you think that we value the job of care workers? I mean, there's a huge responsibility, isn't there? And a really important role in society. Yet, as you're saying, the pay doesn't really reflect that.
No, it's interesting. I would say over the course of the last 5 to 10 years, the role has become even more complex than it ever was. And many of the jobs that we're now doing within Visiting Angels would look a little bit more like nursing jobs 3 or 4 years ago. So I think as a society, if what we're saying is we've got an ageing population and there are untold pressures on the NHS, which mean that we need people to be cared for within the community, then what we need to do is to pay people appropriately for the work that's been done.
Dan Archer, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.